Today we talk about why there are so many instruments with fake labels. Stay tuned and we go into this subject. Hello, back again. We make here the best instruments in Cremona and we also put some fake labels inside. Let's see what we're doing here. Now, violin of Marco Dotti, just here in my shelf, already sold, ready to be shipped. And inside there is written Marco Dotti, Fece in Cremona and everything. And then if you look very close, Joseph Guarnieri, 1740. That's about the year when there was the Heifetz made, yeah? Oh yeah, that's a Heifetz. But actually, there are so many instruments out there in the hands of musicians which have fancy names. I have one instrument, a very interesting one, very interesting. This one is a great one. Wow. It looks marvelous, but it doesn't really look too Italian. Very nice wood, very precise work. And inside, Leandro Bisiak. Oh. But the people who played on it were super happy on playing it, and they were my Leandro Bisiak. This exists since human being exists. Years ago, a colleague of mine, don't want to judge him now, but he just said, Maestro, can I show you my last two violins? Oh, okay, and then he announced himself and arrived with the two violin case opened up. When he took them out, this is the Stradivari and this is the Guarnieri. When I looked at the instrument from the inside, there was the label Stradivari and Guarnieri just blinking over nicely white. While he was talking about his Guarnieri and his Stradivari, I could see in his face that he was like bumping himself up with joy and pleasure about his original Stradivari and Guarnieri, which he has made. So the whole sentence is already which he has made, right? A lot of instruments are sold, especially when I look on the eBay or Kataliki or whatever. Most of the instruments have fake labels. It's very difficult to find anything original. And they just take an instrument and say, this could be Petrazzini. Next one. And then they just sell it and they put on a price, let's say 2,000. Yeah. But the instrument actually has a value of maybe 200 and people buy them and then they go around and get their Petrazzini, Poggi, Garimberti, Stradivari and whatever and Galliano fixed until it sounds better. We did the same thing with the Chinese violin, which we threw down the bridge and survived, so it qualifies for a better life, and we invested our time to increase the sound and we showed that we can increase the sound. So you can make sound, everything a little bit better. You have a certain instrument which is made by Mr. Nobody, and then Mr. Nobody is sick that has difficulties to sell and sees next to him instruments going by which are from his point of view nothing different than his. So he just puts a different name inside and the violin is sold. When I was actually in violin making school, there in the beginning, there was a book of a German book, Geigenzettel, which means nothing else than violin label. And it was black and white. There was already the copy of the label and with numbers and everything. And that was a book we all liked very much. Over the years then, there was also Nicolini. He was an Italian teacher and violin making history in the violin making school, at least when I made the school. And he also published books. And now the last edition here, his book is really a lot of kilograms of book, and here you have the contemporary makers. This book, together with these other books where labels are indicated, are still used a lot to make fake labels from these people who put them inside. So one of the first things when you have a violin with a great fancy label, check it out if it's laser printed, if you see some tiny dots with the paper, things like this, and then search in the books these specific maker, because usually they don't put in Antonio Stradivari. They make some other great Luigi, Canaso, or whatever, and then look that label and compare it. And sometimes even the dots and the mistakes printed in the books are inside your violin. So what can we do against it? You can do something against it, that you just stay a little bit backside from this kind of attitude that an old instrument is in any case better, because even you have no idea, you don't have any idea how to judge an instrument if it's original and not. For every single maker, for every single school in violin making, in presence and in the past, there are experts. So I'm not an expert on old instruments. If I have an instrument which could be something interesting, then I'm actually more occupied with thinking to whom could I go to be sure that what they tell me about that instrument give me the right information. It's a very big subject, and putting in a label is actually nothing. It's very easy to glue in something and put some dirt on it and make it. And we ourselves here in our workshop, when we make like the violin of Marco, definitely we have his label, and on a darker paper the label of Guarnieri. The label inside is only inside to underline which model has been made a copy of. Most people who believe they have a Stradivari have actually a German instrument. Those instruments were not made putting in a fraud label to fool somebody. At the time, about approximately 100 years ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago, they used this just to make understand which model, and they had Maggini, Guarnieri, Stradivari, and most people who write me, I have a Stradivari, it's even written like made in Germany on it, and you just should understand that this can't be an original Stradivari. And this Leandro Bisiak, very nice violin, has a very, very little value. Even so, the sound is actually not so bad, and the instrument response quick has its limits, as it is an instrument probably between Scala Perfetta and Linea Macchi. I would definitely prefer a Linea Macchi than this one here. While the instrument from Marco is a real original, and the fake label underneath his personal label is actually just the model. I hope that you understand that the label doesn't make the sound. The label is just something to blend a little bit your not justified opinion that an old instrument sounds better than a new one. Indeed, if you have a new instrument and you play for a few years, it develops its sound and is better. We even made a video about it, and it's not a secret, and I don't have any problem with it. Me, myself, I would definitely prefer to buy a new instrument where I know exactly what I buy, where I know the maker, where I can see the workshop. Come and visit us and you will see, instead of buying something which later on results fake. I hope you got a great picture about it, and that you understand that you actually buy only if you're sure what it actually is. So my advice is, don't be blinded by the nice fake label. Go and see the makers, identify with them, make them questions, see what they answer. And if you don't have the time, go on my webpage and look what we have. Hope you enjoyed this video. Ciao, ciao from Cremona. Bye bye.